Hello, 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 SheEO District. Ladies, it has been a while. I am going to make sure that I am live in the group. Let's see here. Absolutely. Okay, so I can hear myself. So how y'all doing out there? I know it's been a while, y'all. We've kind of been on a little bit of hiatus there, just taking a little bit of much needed downtime since our launch of 2.0. But listen, we are back. We are live. We are in effect. So do me a favor. Go ahead and share this broadcast with especially your fellow entrepreneur sisters, your business sisters, your business besties. We are launching tonight. We are launching and introducing a year-end series brought to you by SheEO Wealth. We're actually going to be talking about taxes, year-end taxes, what to do, how to start, how to begin to prepare for your year-end taxes as an entrepreneur. So anyone that is a business owner, entrepreneur, please do them a favor and go ahead and share this broadcast. Ladies, we are super excited to be back with you guys. Our Wednesday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night broadcast will crank back up. So we're just happy to be back with you. We've missed you all, but yes, we are live, back, and in effect. And tonight, ladies, we have the Miss Yolanda J. Crump of YJCrump Tax Firm, who is going to be facilitating this series every other Wednesday. So we'll actually have the posting of the dates of each broadcast every other Wednesday. It'll be every other week, different days of the week, but every other week through the month of January. So we're going to tell you how to prepare for your taxes through the end of this year, and then tell you actually what to do to get prepared to actually submit your taxes. It is vital, and I look, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder or shine, but it is vital, and I'm saying this from experience myself. It is vital that we are organized and stay prepared as entrepreneurs, so that we don't catch ourselves scrambling at the beginning of the year to try to get this, that, and the third. So, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Miss Yolanda. We're going to go ahead and get this started, right?
Hello.
Hello, 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 Miss Yolanda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you
Awesome,
hear me?
awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Not only on tonight, thank you so much for lending your time. This essential information, this vital information to entrepreneurs, and lending your time to the SheEO district to help prepare our fellow SheEO ladies and business owners and entrepreneurs for the upcoming tax season. So I'm going to let I'm going to fall back into the back because I want to let her do her thing here. She can introduce herself. This is not about me. This is all about Yolanda and her being a blessing. So if you can, ladies, if you have any questions while she's speaking, I'm going to come back after her presentation, and we're going to do a question and answer. So we'll be answering all of your questions that you have on tonight. So Yolanda, I'm going to go ahead and go backstage, and I'm going to let you have at it.
Thank you so very much, Kelly. I just want to thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to share my knowledge, skills, and abilities with you all. Hello, everyone. My name is Yolanda Crump. I am a previous Internal Revenue agent, 20 years experience. 20 years experience. I was a previous IRS agent. I'm currently an enroll agent. Previous IRS agent because I decided to take my knowledge, skills, and abilities and step out on faith and come out here and become an advocate instead of an enforcer. Next slide, Kelly. My mission is to stand in the gap, to bridge, to eliminate fears, doubts, and insecurities and uncertainty when dealing with the Internal Revenue Service. I am here to serve as a liaison to educate you and so that you can understand your rights and responsibilities as a taxpayer. Next slide. Seems like it's not going in the order. It's not going in the order. So I'm gonna say something. I am a previous IRS agent with 20 years experience interpreting, and applying the tax law. During my tenure as an IRS agent, I identified a gap between individuals and self-employed taxpayers. They relied too much on their tax preparer. So I decided to step out on faith and come out here and educate taxpayers and let them know the importance of understanding their rights and responsibilities. Next slide. You guys, I provided a free checklist. This checklist is what we'll be using to go through the workshop over the next 6 weeks. So we got 6 weeks to get our books and records and get everything in order so that we can ensure that we maximize our savings and keep more of our tax dollars in our pocket. So you all could go to www.YJCrumpTaxFirm.com, and there's a free ebook checklist just for you to download so that you can prepare. We're going to work through it over the next few weeks to make sure that you are ready when you get ready to file your tax return. Next slide. Burden of proof. As burden of proof, as a taxpayer, you have the burden of proof to prove what's on your tax return. I tell everybody, you can put what you want on that tax return. You can put what you want on income. You can put what you want on expenses. But if the IRS come and audit you, it's going to be your responsibility to provide burden of proof. So to ensure that you have an accurate return file, to ensure that you are applying the tax law, it is essential. And I can't stress enough, y'all. I'm just going to keep it real. I can't stress enough the importance of understanding your rights and responsibilities, the importance of understanding the Internal Revenue Code. And I want to talk about the Internal Revenue Code briefly. It's a language. It's a language, you guys. I can't make it no simple. It's a language, no different from English, Chinese, Japanese. I'm also a real estate agent. I tell people, real estate agent, it's a language. So the way to maximize your savings is to understand the language. And that's what I'm going to help you do. As a self-employed individual or just an individual, the Internal Revenue Code is designed for you to understand it so that you can apply it in your situation and circumstances. I'm going to say it like that because everybody's situation and circumstances is different. So you can't apply the code. What works for me may not work for you. So that's why it's so important to understand the code so you'll know how to apply it in your situation. Next slide. You guys, what we're going to be doing during this workshop, because at first we called it a presentation, but I'm like, nah, this is a workshop. What we'll be doing is using the checklist, and I'm going to the checklist right now, you guys. Let me give you all a minute. Go over to www.YJCrumpTaxFirm.com. Is there any way you could send out the link? But it's on the website. So let's just go to www. If you all want to go with me, let's do this. Let's do this. Is there any way we could put the link in? Kelly, is there any way we could post the link in the chat?
It's in the chat.
Okay, you guys, will you go to the chat and grab that link? Because I want us to download this checklist together so you all can see all the information that is needed to prepare your return.
So Yolanda, it's also on the screen now. It's on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you all a minute just to download that, because I'm downloading it as well on my phone. And once you download it, it's a tax preparation checklist. Before you begin to prepare your income tax return, go through the following checklist. Highlight the areas that apply to you and make sure you have the information available. Better yet, attach this list to a folder of your tax documents and check the items off as you add them to the folder. So that's the first step. Just take the list, print the list out, read over it, and say, what applies to me? At the top, you got your personal information. All of us got that. We know we got the Social Security card, copies of last year return, bank account information. You're going to need that. Then the next section, information about your income. If you got a W-2, 1099s, 1099 miscellaneous, interest, dividends. If you receive some alimony, business, farming income, just what applies to you in income. Then there are adjustments to your income. We have things such as 1098E, 1098Ts, records of IRA distributions. Then we can go to the next section. If you itemize include education costs, adoption costs, charitable contributions, casualty loss. Then the next section is deductions and credits. Records of home business expenses, taxes you paid. That's the next section. Then other information. If you scroll on down, I have a separate section for 2022 self-employed individuals. As a self-employed individual, you're required to organize your tax records, make a preparing and complete an accurate tax return easy. It helps you to avoid errors that leads to processing delays and slow down your refund. So you want to make sure that you have all your documentation. And as you can see, I have listed out everything that could possibly apply to you in your business. So what we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks is going over all of these items, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to answer any questions you all may have. And also, we're going to discuss if you have made notes to ensure that if the IRS come 2 years from now, you'll be able to explain that expense and why you took it. Because Internal Revenue Code 162 states, all expenses ordinary and necessary to run your business are tax deductible. Now, as a previous IRS agent, you tell me you got a event space. I can say, hey, well, you got rent, you got light bill, you got internet, you have water bill, etc. But I can't tell you what's necessary. You as the taxpayer would have to tell me what's necessary to run your business. And that's what we're going to talk about, just one of many. Then we're going to talk about the filing requirement, information document returns, such as if you paying somebody rent. Let's use the example as an event space, because I used to have an event space, and I would hire DJs, I would hire photographers. Well, as a business owner, deducting that expense, if I pay them over $400, I'm required to give them a 1099. So we're going to talk about all of those things over the next week, 6 weeks, and getting you prepared for your tax preparation. Today, I have an assignment. Like I said, this is a workshop. The assignment is going to be print this out and start gathering your records. And let me just tell you from experience, I know we get busy. I know life get behind. And this is the best time to start, one day at a time. Do a little bit each day. If you just spend 5 or 10 minutes, let me go through this bank account. Let me go through this credit card transaction. Let me pull out these receipts, and let me just start putting them in a folder. Let me go over the checklist. Let me just see what I got. So as the documents start coming in the mail, or you need to go back and look through your receipts, you can just start putting them in one place. And what we're going to do is we're going to organize them, and we're going to go through them, and we're going to understand how to maximize our deductions and keep more of our money in our pocket. So with that said, I'm going to open the floor to see if we have any questions, any comments. Did anyone have any problems downloading the form? Do I need to send it to anyone in Messenger, the link?
So Yolanda, I'll actually go ahead and start it off with a couple of questions that I have. So ladies, I have actually enlisted Yolanda as my tax preparer, and I can tell you now, this lady absolutely knows her stuff. I am not to say that I had any expectation, because I'm going to be honest and transparent when it comes to taxes. That is not my forte. Ask me about some events, I got you. But when it comes to this tax thing, you're going to need somebody who knows their stuff. And if you are an entrepreneur, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you have a 9 to 5 job, or you have a job, you can no longer go to H&R Block or whoever's at Walmart. That they're no longer for you, right? You need to find somebody, pay the lady, as our sister Paula Haddon would say, pay the lady someone who knows their stuff. So really quick, Yolanda, can you just talk about maybe the top 2 misinformations out there about when it comes to entrepreneurs in business? I know you hear a lot of things about taxes, like you can write off your whole life, but that is just far from the truth. You cannot write off every single thing that goes out of your wallet or your purse string. So can you talk a little bit about some of the misinformations out there in the marketplace about taxes and entrepreneurship?
One of the first things, the top one I hear, I can write off my clothes. I can write off my clothes because I go out and I meet clients in my clothes, and I need business clothes to go out and meet clients in my business clothes. That is incorrect. You can write off your clothes if you have a logo on your clothes that's specifically designated for your business. But just because you go buy a suit, if you can wear that same suit to church, you can't write off that. It has to be, you know how a lot of people have their scrubs and they have their uniforms with their logo on them. You can write off that. You can write off those. Another thing I hear is I can write off my car. I can write off my car. If you have one vehicle and you use that car for personal and business, you can't write off that whole car. A lot of people think I can write off my miles and I can write off actual. You actually have a choice, and that choice has to be made on the first year you put that car in business. That's why they ask, when did that car first go in business? What's the make and model of that car? At that time, you have to make a decision whether you're going to write off actual, which is depreciating the total value of that car, the actual oil expense, the tires, the gas. That's actual. Standard is the standard mileage rate. I'm sure you all see that the standard mileage rate fluctuate depending on our gas prices. That includes the depreciation of the vehicle, the tires, and the value of the car. When an individual write off the entire vehicle that is also your personal vehicle, that's in error. You have to determine the business use of that vehicle. Oh, another one I want to talk about that's a myth. Writing off your home. If you have a home office, it has to be a place where you meet clients. You can't write off no home office because you decided that I'm going to make this room in here my office and this is where I'm going to do my business. You have to make sure this is a designated area where you have your clients, like an in-home daycare. That's a good example. An in-home daycare is a space that an individual can write off their office because they're using that space for those children. Mm-hmm. And that's where they keep their children at. When you talk about tax law, you just need to make sure that you can explain from the Internal Revenue Code why you're deducting that expense. And that's where I come in at, because I'm going to educate us so that we know to use the Internal Revenue Code to justify why we deducted that expense. Knowledge is power. And I believe that with the right knowledge, we can maximize our tax savings. So like I said, those are just, just to kind of give you some myths that individual out here use. Like I tell people, you can put whatever you want on your tax return. Just make sure you can substantiate. You put whatever you want on there.
Listen, so what it sounds like to me, you need to be prepared for the audit, not necessarily the tax return. You need to make sure you're prepared for if an audit occurs. That's what you need to be prepared for.
Mm-hmm. And the knowledge is power. You're making sure that, like I tell people, it's just an example that I'm going to use, y'all, to give you an example about the importance of knowing the tax law to make sure your business is set up. I had a client that came to me. She went to a tax preparer, been doing the taxes for years, you guys. Number one, she didn't even realize that tax preparer was not a tax professional. A tax professional is somebody that has credentials, that knows the tax law. You all can scroll down Facebook right now. There are a lot of ads where people saying, we looking for tax professionals. You can make 6 figures in 3 months. We looking for tax professionals. What they are doing, they're teaching people how to prepare tax returns to avoid you from paying tax. There's strategies out there. There are strategies out there, and I'm just going to make it plain. You can hook up somebody tax return. Like you really can. But the thing I've seen so many times as an IRS agent, I didn't know they were doing that on my tax return. They told me they were saving me some money. I didn't know. Well, on your tax return, on that little line where your signature goes, it says on penalties of perjury, I have reviewed this return and everything to the best of my knowledge is correct. And guess what? They don't care you didn't know because you signed it.
Mm.
So that's where I come in at. I am stressing to taxpayers. Like, I have a big voice, y'all. And I just want people to know your taxes is something you want to know about. Because I believe that it was set up by the government to be this way. Because you need a license to be a plumber. You need a license to be an air conditioning man. You need a license to sell a car. You need a license to sell a house. But you don't need no license to prepare a tax return. And I think that it is that reason, because the reality is the government make their money off penalties and interest. They make their money off of your mistakes. And as a previous IRS agent, people that hire tax professionals, they hire them because the Internal Revenue Code, not black and white, is gray. Just like any law is gray. It's about how you argue it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's important to know it, because I'm a previous IRS agent. And if you tell me, no, this is what I interpreted, this is what I interpreted, we would go back and forth. We would go back and forth. And if you're good at arguing, as an IRS agent, I'm tired of arguing with you. Guess what? let me give you this experience. Look, Miss Kelly, let's see what we can reach. Let's see if we can reach an agreement at. And so that's what made me step out.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized, you know what? I'm sitting up here arguing with these people. And if they got a good position to stand on, even your manager say, you know what? We got to draw a line in the sand somewhere. See, can we reach an agreement with these people? Because that's what the agency want to do. They want to reach an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get the return substantially correct. Not 100% correct, but substantially correct. 80-20 was the rule. We can get it 80% correct, we'll give you 20%. A lot of folks don't know that, but I know that. So that's the reason why it is so essential for us to know the tax law, y'all. We need to know it. It's to our advantage.
That's interesting. That you would say that. So we have a question in the chat. So what is the biggest mistake that causes IRS to raise a red flag?
Rounded numbers.
Mm.
Rounded numbers. You didn't pull no 2,500, 500. Your tax return not substantiating your lifestyle. The IRS does a pre-cash T. Pre-cash T shows all the money comes in, all the money goes out. It also has a variable in there that calculates your standard of living based on the size of your household, based on if you got a mortgage versus rent. So, I mean, and there are different variables that goes in it. So once a lot of people prepare their return because they don't want to pay taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take me for an example. I got 2 children. I got a mortgage. I got a car note. So the IRS gonna look at my return in this database and say, the amount of money Yolanda paid, can she afford to live? The amount of money she reported, can she afford to live? So the IRS, what they do is called a National Research Project. National Research Project audit all different type of businesses, all different type of individuals, and they do 100% audit. We call them NRPs. That's an acronym, NRP, National Research Project. So they use the National Research Project. They audit truck drivers, event spaces, nurses, doctors, lawyers, landscape, anything you can name. Anything you can name. So they'll audit 100% of their return, and they get their data from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get their data from this 100% of this audit. Then they upload that data into software. That's the reason why they changed us from paper filing to electronic filing.
Mm-hmm.
Because with electronic filing, your return is going through this database. Got all these indicators looking for them.
That's good. Wow.
It's looking for them.
Yeah.
Looking for the indicators. And I don't know if y'all noticed, a lot of times you get letters they call CP2000. A computer sent you that letter, not a person. Because it's an indicator that kicked out. So the IRS running the database, they looking for zeros, they looking for large and questionable items. If you're putting a big expense based on their National Research Project, if you got a big expense in supplies, if you got a big expense in advertisement, because with this National Research Project, they're using that data to create statistics. Y'all know everything is done by statistics, right? Mm-hmm. So they using and they're creating all this statistical data to determine, okay, based on an event space, this is the normal rent, this is the normal light bill, this is the normal advertising, this is the normal, based on a truck driver, this is the normal, this, based on their gross receipts, based on, just different variables that they are taking into consideration, that when you file that return electronically, it's shooting through the database. Mm-hmm. So through the database, what they're looking for are things like, did you, large and questionable items? Does your W-2 match up to what was reported? Did you report it? Does your 1099s match up to what you reported? And, there are different 1099s, y'all. We got to watch out with their cash app. That's a whole nother subject. We're going to talk about that later. Let me write that down, because that's a whole, I believe, cash app IRS. But anyway, so these different variables that they look for that generates if your return is going to be kicked out for audit. And those larger questionable items, did you leave something off of your return, whether that stocks, your stock basis, your gains from stocks, 1099s, and does your income substantiate your lifestyle? Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just like, I'm really just taking it all in, Yolanda. Like, this is good information. So what I'm hearing, it sounds like we are there. Even us filing is assisting the IRS, like literally man hours.
Right.
Research and development, so to speak. So absolutely. So just kind of scanning our questions here our comments here for more questions. So can you, before we hop off of here, can you let the audience know just kind of some of the things that we'll be discussing over the next 6 weeks?
Yes, sure. What we'll be discussing over the next 6 weeks, the main thing is Internal Revenue Code 162. Like my passion, my mission is to make sure us business owners understand our ordinary and necessary and what that means and how we can apply it to our business. We'll be going over just the things on the checklist, making sure that you have the proper documentation. Mm-hmm. Because you can have the receipt, but you need to remember why you deducted it. Like, was it ordinary? Was it necessary? And that is essential, because when you close that folder up, with your tax return and with your documents, with your receipts, with your bank deposit reconciliation, you also want to have some notes over there. Because 2 years from now, or a year from now, even 6 months from now, I'm not going to remember why I did what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be going over the Internal Revenue Code 162, ordinary and necessary. I'm going to be going over reconciliation of your bank deposits. Y'all, when we be in business, we be pulling money from everywhere. We be paying.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't look. Are we being honest in this season?
We be pulling, and I'm guilty too. And I know better. Like, we be pulling money from everywhere. We be paying for expenses from everywhere. We be depositing money. Well, when you are a business, especially if you're a sole proprietor, we're going to have to talk about that too, y'all. We need to talk about that business structure. When you are a sole proprietor, every bank account you own is up under audit. When you up under audit, you need to explain that deposit that you got from your sister, and you don't remember where I get that $500 from. I don't know. Guess what? It's taxable. It's taxable for real. So it's essential. Let me stop playing. It's essential that we make sure we understand what's taxable and non-taxable income, and the importance of making notes. Like, that is essential as a business owner. We need to make notes every day, every moment. Like, when we make that deposit, where we got that from? Right on that deposit slip. If we transfer money, we're going to take money out of the savings account at the credit union and had to put it in the business account because the check was getting ready to clear. We need to make notes, because guess what? We're not going to remember. And when you're under audit, you have to reconcile all those accounts to identify taxable and non-taxable income. So it's essential that we go ahead and be thinking about, have I transferred any money? Did I take some money out of an account and put it in my business account? Did I take some money out of my business account and put it in my personal account? So that we're not penalized for non-taxable income because we didn't make a note. You know, we'll be talking about that.
So really quick, just ladies, if you haven't already, you can go to YJCrumpTaxFirm.com and download your checklist. This is a checklist that we'll be going over for the next 6 weeks. You definitely tag a friend to definitely join this. Do your business bestie, your sisters a favor, and have them tune in to this free information. I know for a fact that, what she's going to be covering, she could be charging us for, but she's being a blessing to the SheEO district. She's actually going to be one of our partners moving forward. And so we definitely want to make sure that we are taking advantage of every resource that is available to help us in business, right? So Yolanda, before we hop off of here, I keep hearing you say ordinary and necessary expenses, so that we can start to wrap our mind around, getting our taxes prepared for the upcoming tax season. Can you explain briefly, like, what that actually means?
Okay. Ordinary expenses are things that you incur on an ordinary day-to-day to operate your business. For example, we talking about event space. We know we need the building, so that's going to be ordinary rent. Ordinary will be, we know we'll advertise. We know that we will incur a light bill. That's ordinary. We know that we want to provide our customers internet. That's ordinary. So ordinary is anything that in the nature of your business, as an individual, can say, this is an ordinary expense. This is something that you will incur to run this business. Necessary expense, using our same example, an event space. I traveled to Atlanta last week because I am considering opening an event space in Atlanta. While I was in Atlanta, I went and visited, met with Kelly. Kelly's a real estate agent. Kelly showed me a building Friday. She showed me a building Saturday. She showed me a building Sunday. That is a necessary expense I incurred. Travel? Why would you incur travel when you own an event space? Oh, that was necessary because I'm considering expanding my event space to Atlanta. So that's a necessary expense I incurred. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So I explained why that was necessary.
Right. Anything out of the ordinary,
Right,
needs explanation.
needs an explanation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I even want people to start writing on their receipts, was this ordinary or was it necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it like that. And then write an explanation. Because the Internal Revenue Code says that my expense ordinary necessary, like bourgeois. Let's talk about bourgeois. Tomorrow I'm going on a cruise. I take lanyards. Lanyards is a marketing tool for me. Everybody on the cruise got to wear a lanyard. Bourgeois is a brand that talks about empowerment, fitness, experience, all of this stuff, right? So a person looking at my website would say the ordinary expenses would be, because I sell clothes, that's an ordinary expense. But why would I go on the cruise and say that that's a deductible expense? Well, it's necessary for me to promote my brand and bring awareness to it. So that is a marketing approach that I use because there are 2,500 to 3,000 people on one boat. Give me 4 days to meet folk. Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all want a lanyard? That's necessary. I explained why it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem necessary to you?
Yes.
So I'm going to deduct going on my cruise tomorrow.
Boom. And boom.
Right. I mean, and it is like even coming to the brunch, the first brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, then I walk around, hey, how y'all doing? My name Yolanda. Giving everybody flyers.
Yes.
That's necessary because I am a tax professional as well as bourgeois. I'm bringing awareness to my brand. I go out, I go networking, I'm traveling, meeting different people, engaging with different people. That's necessary.
That's necessary.
Right. So, but we need to be able to explain that.
Can you hear me, Yolanda? Okay, you want to go out and come back in? All right, ladies. While Yolanda, we have ran into some technical difficulty, but while Yolanda is coming back in, you can see that she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to taxes. So again, if you know anyone who is in business, please tag her on these lives. We're actually going to be start to promote the dates that we will be going live. Again, this is going to be a 6-week series, and make sure you're tuning in. Like, this is something that is essential. And if not done correctly, it can surely come back to haunt you and bite you in the butt. And again, I'm going to be transparent. It's happened to me. And even in conversations with other entrepreneurs, me not knowing and having someone to prepare my taxes and they did not prepare them correctly, it literally came back to bite me in the butt. Right. So this is why I'm very passionate about this series and what we're doing here in the SheEO district, because, entrepreneurship is not all glitz and glam and sexy that we make it appear to be on social media. Sometimes it's a lot of work, and we definitely have to pay close attention to what we're writing off, what's coming in, what's going out, versus just, putting a W-2 and sliding across the table, right? So I'm going to just do a final scan to see if we have any additional questions. But we thank everyone for tuning in. I'm going to see if Miss Yolanda, if we can hear.
Can you hear me now?
We can. I was just kind of recapping the importance of, all of our listeners making sure that they're tagging someone in for this next broadcast. And Yolanda, thank you so much for, again, lending your time and your information, your knowledge. I'm sure it's 20 plus years of knowledge that you're going to be sharing with us over the next 6 weeks. So I just want to thank you in advance for having us on your mind and partnering with us to share this information with the SheEO district community. Any just quick parting words before we get out of here on tonight?
Thank you so much, Kelly, for the opportunity. And, I'm all about sisterhood and women empowerment. And we are going to grow stronger with this knowledge I have. You guys, I have posted the checklist link in the comments. I just posted it in comments. So, and I've also posted it in the group. So feel free, go download it. We will be working from the checklist. We will be going through it in depth. As you all prepare these next 2 weeks, go ahead and write your questions down. Go ahead and gather that information. Start somewhere. Just start pulling it together. If you don't do nothing but print the form, staple it on the folder. The first 2 weeks, this is the first step. Print the form, staple it on a folder, one of the manila folders or envelope, and just start putting stuff in it as you think about it.
Yeah.
Start putting stuff in it. And so as you go down, you can say, Yolanda, girl, I deducted this, how I write this out. Like, let's just keep it real. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to make sure that you're able to explain from the Internal Revenue Code standpoint. Look, she got a phone.
And you can get these in a pack. Like, I think it comes like 3 or 4 in a pack from the Dollar Tree. A manila folder. It has a little photo on the inside. So listen. I got my Yolanda Crump starter kit right here, honey.
Right. That's a great idea. And just start putting stuff in it. And what we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna go down through them and start writing your questions, because the next class is gonna be November 22nd. November 22nd, y'all. Let's meet and just bring your things and let's talk about it, and let's just make sure that we are applying the tax law. People wonder why Donald Trump didn't pay no taxes. I saw it out there every day, y'all. They were applying the tax law.
Mm-hmm.
They were applying it. So I thank you again so much for this opportunity. And I'm excited.
I'm excited too, Yolanda. Thank you so much. And again, listen, knowledge is power, and that power gonna create some money back in our pocket, y'all.
Yes.
Y'all join us back here on November 22nd. We'll actually start to promote our upcoming date starting tomorrow. So just mark your calendars for November 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will see you back here on Wind Down Wednesdays next week. You all have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.